Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Steve's Picks. In this video series I'll be showing some interesting language videos I found throughout the week. Some of them are very new, like they came out in the past week or so, but every now and then I'll show an older video just because I think it's quite interesting. The first video I have for you today is the Swedish language. In this video, a Swedish lady talks about some homonyms in Swedish, and I find these things quite fun because it's often really weird about how some words, they have all these different meanings, it's all lumped together into a single word. The second video I have for you today is about how languages evolve. So before I knew what I know about languages now, I thought languages kind of are just there, like plants or whatever. But as I learned more about them, I learned about how languages change over time. And then when I encountered Middle English and Old English, it was really interesting to see how languages change and how sometimes they can change a lot. Such that you can't even understand them. So this video is quite interesting because it gives an overview of how that process works. So the most important thing is isolation of speakers. So when speakers are together, people tend to emulate the way other people speak. But when you separate it, these groups just start doing their own thing, and then the languages diverge and diverge and diverge until eventually speakers of that language can't understand speakers of the other language. And you can find that video over here. The next video I have for you is a video by the Virtual Linguistics campus, and they interviewed David Crystal about the uses of linguistics. Now, before I got into language, I didn't really know much about linguistics at all, but once I got into it, I realized how useful it was, and learning about how languages actually work helps a lot in actually learning them. So that's at least a reason why I find them useful. But David Crystal, he's an actual linguist, unlike me. I'm just an amateur linguist. Talks about some of the reasons that linguistics is useful in the real world, and you can find that video over here. One thing I really like about languages is language games and things that are tricky but in a fun way, like tongue twisters. So I really like it in videos where they compile a bunch of tongue twisters together, and especially tongue twisters in other languages. And this video that I'm going to show for you has tongue twisters from around the world, and you can find that video over here. So the last video I have for you today is a video about misconceptions of linguistics, like what do linguists actually do, and a lot of people don't really understand what that job involves. So in this video, a linguist talks about what his job actually involves, and you can find that video over here. At the end of the show, I'd like to answer questions that have been sent in to me, so here we go. Samuel Lowe asks, do you get asked if you're a native Afrikaans speaker a lot on the internet? Like all the time. So what a lot of people don't know, some people, I don't know how many people, but I think there's some people who don't even know that there are even white people in South Africa, and those who do think that they're all Afrikaans speakers. Actually, 2/3 of white people in South Africa are Afrikaans speakers, and 1/3 are English, and 1/3 are native English speakers like me. So I do get that question a lot, and I have to explain to people that no, actually, I'm a native English speaker. But what makes it worse for me is I've got a German name, which people are often confused with Afrikaans names. So they just look at my name and they think, oh, you're one of those Afrikaans people. And I have to say, no, there are some Afrikaans people, but I'm German, not Afrikaans. Well, I'm half German. My dad was born in Germany. Angus Ball asks, apart from Atlans, which of your conlangs are developed enough to be spoken? Well, it really depends on what you mean by developed. I've developed a lot of my conlangs. They're all related to Atlans and the whole Atlantean project. Here is part of the Eagle and the Fox in Johannes. In Adlia and in Fuchs hath inge vriendschap bildet and hath in dag entschieden na to mekaar leven. This Adlia hath her lager in den asten of in Huki boom, warend this Fuchs hath in Unterhult krieket en dood her kinder ergebet. Carnahan writes, why did Gothic go extinct, and what would it sound like today if it still existed? Okay, so the reason languages go extinct is quite complicated. Basically, it comes down to, well, obviously no one is speaking it anymore, but the reason people stop speaking it is quite complicated. It could be for social reasons, economic reasons, political reasons. Actually, everyone just dying, that's actually not that common, because there are stories of like one group will come in and just kill everyone, and then there goes the language, because languages don't leave fossils. But that's not really what happens. What normally happens is some kind of dominant group will come in, and either by force or just because that other language becomes more useful, people just start speaking this other language, and then as they start speaking that other language, they'll be speaking that language to their peers, and they'll be speaking that language to their children, and then they won't teach them their original native language, and then just over time less and less people are speaking that language. And what's really important for transmitting languages is speaking it to your children, so that they learn it natively and that they can then pass it on. And what happened is that the Goths had some success in Europe. They had some success in Spain, in France, in Italy, but eventually they just got kicked out of various places, and it just, there were less and less speakers and less people were passing it on, and eventually the Goths just assimilated into other groups, and there weren't enough people transmitting the language. There is one small group called the Crimean Goths who spoke it up until the 1800s, which is quite remarkable, considering that all their other so-called successful compatriots like the Visigoths and all that died out. But yeah, that's what happens with languages sometimes. Through various social and political movements, the language just stops being spread, and when the language stops getting spread, it's only a matter of time before the current speakers die, and then no more language. As for what Gothic would sound like if it still existed today, it's really hard to know, because it's not just a dialect or language in the West Germanic branch that died out. It's in the East Germanic branch, and the East Germanic branch is very divergent from the West Germanic and the North Germanic branch. I mean, it's a whole other branch. But one thing we can say is that it will probably have quite a lot of influence from Spanish, Italian, French, Frankish, and those languages, because let's say that the Goths found a place in Spain or Italy or whatever and stayed there, and then they became this community that became self-sustaining, and then they stayed there up until present time, just like the Basques. So if that were the case, then it would definitely still be a Germanic language, but it will be East Germanic language, and so that means it will be quite different in a lot of ways to the other Germanic languages. But also it will probably have a lot of influence from Spanish and from the other languages around it. Just like Breton is very influenced by French, and Cornish is very influenced by English. Thanks for watching this episode of Steve's Picks. Come back next week for the next episode. Cheers!